Hi, this is Melissa, and this is my book group discussion video. The first question that I chose from chapter 2 was about what does the migration do for communities. And in the North, basically the status quo was disrupted for the people who lived in the North. They had their way of life. They were very middle class and whatnot. And here comes the Southern hillbillies, and they're just completely different from them. And so it's like they kind of had grudges against the people from the South. Um, and in the South, it's kind of like it was a tight knit community, and to have a tight knit community starting to migrate, it's like a loosening of the community. So there were people who didn't like that. It was like almost like a breaking apart of the family, but at the same time, it was also um, providing job opportunities for that community, even if it meant them having to go somewhere else. The opportunities were still being brought to that community. So for my second question, the question I picked was about Mama disliking disloyalty so much, and why it was so important to her. And basically, the book states that hillbilly culture um, blended a robust sense of humor, devotion to family, and also mentioned that your home is your castle. Your people are your kingdom, and not anyone else's to intrude on. So if you betrayed someone in your family even a little bit, that was a huge problem because you're betraying your own. Um, your utmost loyalty should be for your family, and I think that's widely held by many people, not just hillbillies. And so it's hurtful when someone violates that. Uh, so for ideology, I was looking at ideology for this part of the book, and um, ideology comes into play because it describes the people in the North as being like white middle class, whatever, and that one of the reasons they disliked the people of the South was because here were other whites coming from the South who were completely different. They weren't like upper class, snooty, what they would consider civilized. They were just very different. And, for one group of white people to see that in another group of white people kind of shook up their ideology about race and about themselves. I also wanted to talk about family systems and the fact that in this story, family systems is tied to family violence. So it describes how Papa was a violent drunk, and Mama was what they say a violent non-drunk, and so they would, because of those parts of their identity, I guess, and because of those behaviors that they chose, their roles that they played in that dynamic, there was a lot of violence in the house. There was a lot of fighting, and Papa would be very reactionary to Mama, and Mama would vice versa. It'd be bidirectional problem between the two. And Mama even is described as playing pranks on him when he's drunk or passed out or whatever. And so that greatly impacts the family dynamic and the family system, having that kind of violence and relationship. Okay.